Welcome to the Third Win channel, where today we're looking at iCarly and its villains, or general, anti-protagonist characters. I thought this would be a fun video to make, as in iCarly there are quite a few. And without further ado, let's get into it. We have 5 tiers, with the very bottom being boring and the top being beautifully wicked, or, interesting. So I'm going off of characters here, how interesting I find the villains, not like who is the most evil or anything like that. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we got Neville Papperman, and what a way to start the video. Neville is somewhere between A tier and Beautifully Wicked. I'm gonna put him in here for now. Just something about him creating his own massive web blog and creating sort of good plans to make Carly rue the day. And his just the way he speaks, he makes him a very interesting character, and we don't get enough of him. I feel like it would be fun to get even more of him, and we do get him in the revival. But I wanted to learn more about the way his mind works and what his intentions are and whatnot. But I think Neville is a great villain, definitely appropriate for a web show like iCarly. Moving on, we got Griffin, the bad boy, who, to be honest, I've always thought was pretty boring. His personality is pretty flat, pretty predictable, other than the fact that he collects little stuffed animals, which, contradicts his bad boy type. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I always found him kind of boring. Moving on, we got Arenthia, who is a bit of an evil mastermind, harvesting a young woman's data through them crying in her pods, and she's just very evil and I guess a clever businesswoman. But I'd put her probably in A or B. Just there's something about her that's very unlikable. I know that that's what you want from a villain in most cases, but I'm gonna have to drop her in B for now, although I do think she was quite a clever villain. Moving on, we got Chip, who is kind of like Chuck. Isn't he Chuck's brother? I think he is. Chip. What am I gonna say about Chip? His plan was his idea was interesting. To get into Spencer's way, but his execution was poor, and he left too many traces, and just generally he didn't think things through like Chuck did. So I'm gonna have to drop Chip in B, and he was only in one episode or so. Should mention we probably don't have everyone here who is an anti-protagonist, but I just the ones I thought that were the most memorable. Moving on, we got Chuck, who um either A or Beautifully Wicked. I could probably drop him in A for now, which makes Chip's like 2 tiers below that. Chuck, I love the way how he knew kind of his backup plan if things went wrong, but he lived for the agony in Spencer when he did a prank, and he knew how to flip the script really quickly if things went wrong, and he was just a brilliant little kid, but very evil and uh, very difficult to deal with for Spencer. So he was fun, and I love how Happy Spencer got his own villain. Moving on, we got Wade Collins, who you know isn't the brightest person. He puts on this persona of being this rock star, cool guy, but really he's a complete douchebag, or I will say we'll use his own word, hobknocker. But for the show, he served his purpose. I'd say I put him next to Chip. Maybe that's a little ungenerous because he was quite a memorable anti-protagonist. But yeah, C's about right. Now we got Ms. Briggs. Oh boy, straight into Beautifully Wicked. I think Ms. Briggs is a genius character. We get her straight from the very first scene of iCarly, having her head being put on a rhinoceros by Sam, and just that one episode as well, I Spy on My Mean Teacher, I think it's called, where we get to see into her life and what she does at home, and just all of her intentions and the way she talks to the students. And she's very evil, but also quite interesting. And I wish we got more about her. We did get her personal life and whatnot, but I don't know. Something about Miss Briggs has always intrigued me, and I really hope we get her in the revival. Moving on, we got the Shadow Hammer, who isn't really a character, but he is one of the more scary people or characters in the iCarly universe. I guess he's a real thug, a real criminal. So I don't know. Shadowhammer, he was quite scary. I did I did find it quite intense how I don't know who it was. I think it was Spencer or Freddie who changed the number 8D on Freddie's apartment with someone else's, and then someone gets beat up or killed, who or God knows what happened. But it made for an interesting episode. I think I'm gonna drop him not in boring, but in C. He doesn't really deserve any higher. Next up, we got Missy, who I'm gonna drop either in B or A. I'm trending towards B, I think. She was quite a clever villain, or you get the point. I'm gonna call them all villains. Because she comes in as this old friend of Carly's, who Carly trusts pretty much completely. But she turns out to be pushing Sam away with this, uh, giving her old chocolates and just throwing her under the bus in several different ways. And I thought that was quite clever. And Missy turned out to be a villain of reckoning. She was kind of scary, not gonna lie. Moving on, we got Nora, who the word beautifully wicked doesn't really match what I think. She's more psycho, exactly how she's called. But yeah, we'll drop her there. She deserves to be there. When I think of villains in iCarly, I think of Nora, and I think of Neville, so they have to be there. And she made for two, or I guess you could. She's in the revival as well, but in the original iCarly, she made for two very intense, almost thriller-like episodes, which I really enjoyed, and she will get all the points she deserves for that. Maybe her character is a little too silly, but I really did enjoy Nora as a villain, and she was scary in a way that Neville never was. So she deserves to be up there. Moving on, we got Justin, who definitely not boring. Is he better than Chip and Wade Collins? I wouldn't say so. Maybe he's better than Shadowhammer, but I hate Carly 57. I think he is. I found him more funny than scary in any way, but it's fun to see kind of what an average iCarly hater looks like. But yeah, see, I didn't even know if I should include him on this list. He's just okay. Moving on, we got Kyoko and Yuki, who go down as fairly average villains for me, although they did mess up the iCarly gang quite well by setting them up and acting super nice and just completely betraying their trust. It made for a very good movie. I did enjoy the iCarly Go to Japan movie, so yeah, they serve their purpose. I wouldn't say they're masterminds or super interesting or super funny for that case, but yeah, they can get a B. Moving on, we got Mandy, who is, I think, my most annoying iCarly character, or one of, and she's not really a villain either, but I like to put her here because she's annoying. Where would I put her? Um, she's, I almost find her boring. I don't know. I know that's, it's just she's so silly and annoying. It's that to me it becomes boring. I just don't like to see her on screen. I know that's very harsh, and she's just a young fan, but yeah, that's how I feel. Moving on, we got Lubert, who is, oh man, difficult. I think I'd put him right above Chuck. Maybe he should be up here, but I love the fact that we find out that he does have quite, I wouldn't say a dark past, but an interesting past, and there's a reason why he is where he is. He actually escaped his ex, which is, you know what, I do want to put him in Beautifully Wicked because he was destroyed, and the fact that Carly even brought his ex to him, which is why which is what he was escaping from. Why he developed this wart and all of that. Just Lubert's past was just really interesting to me. I don't know, and the state of a person after someone, uh, you know, uh, creates a dumpster fire. No, I don't know how to say this, but when someone in his life kind of blows up and makes him go insane, he runs away, and then this is his state. It's crazy. Lubert's an interesting character to me, and I don't know. I do maybe he is very rude and unnecessarily mean to people, but he is wicked in a beautiful way, I'd say. Kind of. He probably should be here, but I'm going to put him up here. I'm talking too long. Next up, we got Mr. Howard, who was yeah, he's like the male version of Miss Briggs. I always found his anger funny in the same way I found Miss Briggs' anger funny. Miss Briggs is more iconic, maybe because she got more like her own episodes and she was in the beginning of the show. But and also tossing him next to Chuck probably isn't rotten. I just have to. I just really enjoy Mr. Howard for some reason. Some things can't be explained. Moving on, we got the Sunshine Girls who weren't boring. They didn't really even have many lines. I thought they were actually the fact that Spencer was so intimidated by these two young girls who were mean, by the way, was funny. And they definitely deserve to be higher than boring. This tier isn't bad. If you're in C, you should be all right with that. Moving on, we got Nora's parents who were insane, and the fact that they raised this insane child should grant them at least a B. I think they are crazier and more wicked than Arenthia even. They are quite messed up. Yeah, I'll put them in B. Moving on, we got the photographers who, yeah, we could toss them in, we could toss them there. Like, they were boring, they're forgettable. I don't know why I included them on this list, actually. But they're worth mentioning. They made for a bit of a unique episode, a little different scenario. So, yeah, that is my iCarly villains list. I might have left a few off, but these are the ones I wanted to mention. And let me know if you disagree with me. What is your favorite iCarly villain? What other content do you want to see? Let me know in the comments. But for now, this has been the Third Win channel. Thank you for watching and see you guys soon.